Hello everyone, and this is today's maths lesson. Today we will learn to recall and use division facts for the 12 times table. So, looking already, you might receive a question like this if you'll do it, 48 divided by 12. Now, steps to success I've got here. So number 1, make bags using the dividend and divisor. Or count in your 12s until you reach 48 and you will be left with something called the quotient. The quotient is just whatever your answer is, okay, before or well after essentially your equals marks, okay. Sometimes the equal might be here and that's when the quotient would be before the number sentence, okay, but whatever our quotient is whatever the result is. Okay, I'll show you step 2 here, so counting in 12s until you reach 48. So it's nice simple steps. So you're counting in groups of 12 until you reach 48. Well, you can see here 1, 2, 3, 4 steps. Okay, so 48 divided by 12, that's 4 equal steps. Okay, so if you wanted to, instead of using the steps of counting up in your 12 times tables, if you wanted to, you could use the bag method that I mentioned in the success criteria. Okay, so here, let's break this down then. You have your dividend here. The dividend is the larger number, okay, in a division number sentence. And remember, the dividend always comes first. I'll explain why later on. But for now, remember, your dividend comes first. You divide it by your divisor. Your divisor simply means how many groups. Okay, so in this case, you should have 12 groups here, 12 bags, and you will count to 48. So you put a dot in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and you'll count all the way up, evenly putting the dots in until you reach 48, and you'll notice then that your quotient here will be 4. Okay. Alright, so when you come to stretch it, it says Colin thinks that the missing number is 1. 11 equals something divided by 11. And it says explain why is incorrect. So, okay, so this is that really important bit where I said about how the dividend must always be the biggest number. So 11, our quotient, equals apparently 1 divided by 11. Okay, and this is why he is incorrect. So listen very carefully. If your dividend was a smaller number, like in this case it says 1, then you are being asked to share one chocolate or one tiny little ball here or dot between 11 bags equally. Now, is this one ball or dot, whatever, is that being shared equally between all of these? Well, no, because it's only in one. It cannot fit. You cannot share one marble between 11 children. It would not make sense. You can't cut them in half. Okay, you can't spread them out. So the really important thing to note straight away is the reason it's wrong straight away is because the dividend is smaller than the divisor. Okay, so that doesn't help immediately. Now, the way that I would work this out then, because Colin's clearly made a mistake, is I would use the inverse. Okay, so inverse means opposite. So if you're struggling here, think about the inverse. Now, here we have division. If we are going to do the inverse, I would multiply. Okay, would I do 11 multiplied by 1? Well, no, because that's not going to help. When we do our inverse with division, you need to focus on what is on the other side of the equals marks. Okay, so 11 multiplied by 11, which you should hopefully remember from last lesson, will give you 121. Now they're a little bit close, I haven't got much room here. Let's see if this makes sense now. 121 divided by 11 will give you 11, okay, which we should know is true. So focus on when you get to this stretch it question, okay, see whether he's got his numbers in the right order. Is the dividend bigger than the divisor? Okay, and then think about explaining why must the dividend be bigger? Why? Okay, and then think about sharing equally what you have to share. When you get to our solve it today, you're probably going to need your 100 square again. Now, I'm sure, as I am, you're probably getting tired of seeing this 100 square. I promise this will not be going on too much longer, and hopefully this will be one of the last times you ever see one for a while. Now, it says here, complete the statements. Now, on your sheet, there are lots and lots of combinations, and it does ask you to use the numbers. Try and use the numbers at least once per time. But I'll show you what it's essentially asking for. Okay, so it's asking here for a 2-digit number divided by 12 equals something. And on this one, something in the 12 times table, which is 80 something, divided by 12 is something else. So if you have your 12 times tables to hand and you've learnt these, fantastic if you've learnt them off by heart by now, because we're probably getting used to them after a while because we've looked at it so many times. But this is the way to do it. Okay, this will make your life a lot easier if you have one of these to hand. Now luckily at the start I've got something where I can probably include lots of different options. There's lots of different solutions for this question, which is why on your Solve It you'll probably have to use a little bit of trial by error. Okay, you might get it wrong a few times and get the number combinations mixed up, and that's absolutely fine. If at first you try it just so you can succeed and actually get some numbers in that work, that's fine, and then maybe go on to seeing if you can use all of the numbers once. Probably makes more sense. Okay, I'm going to make it nice and simple, my life nice and simple here, and I'm going to put 96 in here, divided by 12. If I've forgotten, that's okay, I'll just look here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 steps. So 8 steps of 12 will give me 96. So I'm going to put my 8 in here because, again, the great thing about division is if you know your multiplication, you know your times table facts, you can divide automatically without even thinking. Then when we have something here, it's something in the 12 times table where we're dividing, and the dividend here is something in the 80s. Okay, this will be really useful, okay, because if I look down here, we know 84 is in the 12 times table. It's a multiple of 12. 84. Nice and simple. How many groups though of 84 do we have? Well, count on your fingers, count in your head if you remember. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 groups. Okay, that is how you're going to work this out. So give it a go. This one will be tricky, but this is all about perseverance. Try again if at first you don't succeed. Okay, so keep giving this a go. Well done, guys. You're doing really fantastic work at the moment in your maths. Please just make sure you are explaining properly in your stretch its, because at the moment there's a lot of people that are writing one-word answers still, or trying to do it as quickly as possible. It's about taking your time and showing that understanding. Those will be the best answers. Okay, thank you, guys.